Stop doing manifestation techniques. Do this instead. Here's how to find the internal rule that is quietly blocking your desires. It's one sentence that you probably don't even realize you're believing. Before we dive in, hi, I'm Mariah. I take confusing manifestation stuff and turn it into practical identity work that you can actually apply right now to get the lasting changes that you want and sustain them. If you're doing manifestation techniques for hours a day, like you're scripting, you're affirming, you're visualizing, you're repeating numbers even, I'm going to say something right now that might be slightly controversial. You might want to stop. And I'm going to tell you why. Techniques aren't what create results. Identity and safety are. These two things right here are what is actually going to get you your desires, not techniques. And that is what I teach on this channel. Techniques are used to get you into the mental state or the identity of somebody who can have your desires. They're something that helps you, but they're not the thing that creates it. And I really wish people in this space would talk about this more. They focus so hard on techniques, and people end up going in these technique loops for years and they never actually get what they want, because at no point did any of these manifestation gurus ever give them the tools to actually embody the identity and feel safe in having what they want. So if that sounds familiar, I'm assuming you are burnt out. You're exhausted. And I mean, exhausted. Trust me, I've been there. Because you've been doing all this stuff. You've been doing the techniques. You've been doing this new method. You've been maybe thinking positive or regulating your emotions, or maybe visualizing every night, or perhaps even looking up this new clickbaity term that everyone's been talking about in this community, which bothers me a lot. If you feel like you've been doing everything that everyone's telling you to do, but you're wondering why you feel like life is just pushing back harder sometimes, then this is for you. And I'm going to be honest, I've been there too. It's that feeling of, oh, if this works for everybody else, then what's wrong with me? Why isn't it working for me? Which, by the way, is the moment that most people quit. Because they're not lazy, they're just tired of fighting themselves. And let's be really honest real quick. If techniques worked the way that everybody claims that they do, we'd all be millionaires. We'd all have exactly what we want right now, wouldn't we? And we wouldn't need to keep doing techniques endlessly, because we'd already have what we wanted. If the techniques worked the way that people say they do. And if affirmations alone truly manifested instantly, we wouldn't be on day 197 repeating the same thing to ourselves in the mirror. At some point, we have to stop and ask, if it's supposedly working, why am I still trying so hard and not seeing results? And of course, you've probably heard it. A lot of people in this space say, oh, you just need to persist. You just need to persist. And then you're like, well, how? It's been years and I still don't have what I want. And then they're going to tell you you're doing something wrong. That's not helpful. And the truth is, the affirmations and the techniques, again, are not going to get you what you want. It's the identity. Your identity dictates what it is that feels safe for you, what it is that feels normal for you, and what it is that feels available to you. So what I wish they would do, instead of saying these techniques are going to get you your desires, or you just have to keep affirming, they need to tell you that those are tools to get you into the state or the identity of one who can have what you desire. The affirmations and the techniques are meant to help you get into the mindset, into the identity, into the state of the person that those thoughts would naturally occur. So if you're making tens of thousands of dollars a month, that would be normal for you. So if somebody asked you, hey, how much money do you make? You would naturally say, I make like $10,000 a month, right? It's not going to be something you repeat in the mirror because it's normal. Much like everything in your current reality, that is what is normal. That is what is safe and available to your current identity. That's all we're doing here. The affirmations, the techniques, and the methods are meant to help you get into the identity of somebody who has what you desire, because that's normal for them. If something constantly requires force, it's not alignment, it's effort. And usually effort is fear in disguise. And let's not even talk about the people in this space who say, hey, how you treat this video is how the universe is going to treat you. Karma's real. Yeah, it gets you into that guilt mindset. And you feel like, oh, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to get my desire. I think that's damaging beyond belief, and it's absolutely not how they should be treating their audience. Because people come to these folks to get help, to actually get where they want to be. And if they're constantly being told that they're not doing it right unless they do this thing, then it's like, what if I don't want to do that thing? What, am I just not going to get my desire? In my opinion, that's just not healthy. And it just preys on people's desperation. And that's not what I'm doing here. I'm trying to give you the tools to get out of that loop. I'm telling you what has worked for me. I'm constantly improving and constantly evolving, and I'm trying to find the easier way to get to where I want to be, and I share that with you. So back to effort being fear in disguise. That whole thing is not your fault, okay? In my opinion, the manifestation space accidentally trains people into hypervigilance. They're always checking, they're always fixing, they're always forcing something, or they're always looking for some new method, right? And that whole thing keeps your nervous system in a state of, oh, something is wrong. I need to fix my life. I need to fix this thing. We need to do more. And that state is stress, okay? That is not safe. That is not where creation happens. And here's a part that I don't feel a lot of people are talking about, and that is your system doesn't change through repetition alone. It also changes through safety, evidence, and identity shifts. Because you can say, I'm wealthy 10,000 times, but if your system feels that wealth is unsafe, unfamiliar, or immoral, it's going to reject it. Trust me, I've been there. There was a time I repeated an affirmation 63,000 times, and nothing happened. Nothing changed, because nothing in my identity changed. So your system is not rejecting your desires because it's somehow blocked. It's simply protecting you. So you can tell it what you want, but it's basically going to go, wow, I really love the enthusiasm, but still, no. So here's my honest advice. Stop doing more techniques. You really don't need to be doing that because you're really just stressing yourself out. Trust me, I've been there. Start doing less, but deeper. Because the goal isn't just convincing yourself, it's also making change feel safe and normal. So instead of giving you another technique, which I'm not going to do, here's what I want you to do. The next time you feel like doing another technique, stop and ask yourself this instead. What am I afraid would happen if this actually worked? Not, how can I make this work faster? But what feels unsafe about succeeding? Because that question goes straight to the root. And in my opinion, techniques treat the symptom, but this question finds the cause. So the message here is to stop trying to force the outcome and become more curious about the resistance. So try this today. The first step here is we're going to name the desire and be very specific. Not just like, oh, I want success. Name something concrete like, oh, I don't know, maybe earning $10,000 months, or a healthy, compatible relationship, or maybe being visible and earning a sustainable income online. That kind of stuff. So just be specific. And now we're going to identify the threat by asking, if I fully had this desire, what feels unsafe or uncomfortable about it? And then you pause and wait for the first uncomfortable answer. And you're not looking for logic here, because it very well may not be a logical answer. You're also listening to your body, because your body knows before your mind does. You're looking for any tightness in your chest or hesitation or emotion or any other body sensations like, tightness in your gut and not in your stomach, or maybe, your throat starts to clench up. Is there anxiety or uneasiness? Maybe even subtle dread. So maybe it's a physical uneasiness with the answer of, oh, I'd be criticized, or I'd have more responsibility, or people would judge me, or even, oh, I wouldn't recognize myself. Those types of things. That's the real work, and that's where the truth lies. Now, step 2, we're going to be naming the perceived loss. And this is where the truth shows up, because there's something in your system that believes there's some sort of loss or cost connected to what you want. So now you're going to ask yourself, if I woke up tomorrow and had what I want, what would I lose? You can also ask yourself, if I got what I wanted, what negative thing would I also gain? Because your brain and your system only blocks things it thinks will cost you something or would be a threat. So now that you've asked this, you're going to wait for the first uncomfortable answer. Because that answer, that sentence, is what I have come to know as an identity contract. That's the tiny internal rule that has been running the show this entire time. The identity contract. And you most likely have more than one. An example of this may be, if I succeed, my family wouldn't relate to me anymore. And in this example, it's not, I'm scared of success, or I don't believe it's possible for me. It's, if I change, I won't belong. So in this example, your system isn't blocking money or success. It's protecting belonging. Because success equals separation, and separation equals unsafe. So every time things may start improving, we may unconsciously sabotage it. Not because we're broken, it's because our systems are so loyal. They're so loyal to the things that we hold on to as part of our identity, to the point they've formed these contracts to protect us. Your fear isn't about your desire. It's about what comes after your desire. Responsibility, visibility, change, withdrawal of approval, judgment, criticism, guilt, those things. So by asking these questions, you're just trying to find whatever that identity contract is. Because your brain isn't blocking success or love or abundance. It's avoiding a perceived loss, cost, or threat. Sometimes you're not stuck. In fact, you're probably not stuck at all. The thing is that you're protecting an old version of yourself that's outdated with one or more of these identity contracts. So we need to update them. So write down whatever comes up, even if it sounds completely irrational, especially if it sounds completely irrational, because that leads into step 3, which is tracing the origin. And that's what we will cover in the next video, where I will walk you through step by step how to trace the origins of your own identity contracts and then rewrite them safely. Because once you rewrite them and update them, you can finally stop fighting yourself. And you'll have less resistance toward your desires. So if you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, where I share a lot more on this topic. Again, safety first, identity second, and then results will follow. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.